A selfie. Okay, God, I hate doing these. I didn't want to do another musical after Sam and Isla Forever, but the theatre asked me to, and 2 years later, here we are. There was a long time when I didn't know what I was going to do, and this show was just 3 nights with nothing happening in a theatre. I had no idea what it was going to be. So this one's very different, but sort of linked to Sam and Isla Forever. There's some recurrent themes. Basically, nothing is fair in love and war, and all wars are crimes. Sam and Isla, we tackle trench warfare and romantic love. 72 Hours, we cover covert warfare, spies, counterintelligence, and family loyalty. Loyalty is a big theme. We also tackle civil disobedience in a big way at the end of the first act. Oddly lonely. It was written in a short and intense period, and a lot of what I do requires solitude. And then about halfway through, after the read-through and about a month's rehearsal, we had to do a big casting reshuffle. The result of which being we had to dump one song out and replace it with a whole new one, which is actually going to make the whole show better and more focused. It also meant a lot more stress on me, but as I basically was rewriting while we were rehearsing, which is something you never want to find yourself doing, but it has made this a stronger show. The one salvation of it all is the cast. Every time I turn to rehearsals, I'm filled with doubt and just worry that this thing is just so huge and we're just not going to be able to pull it off. And then you see this team and it all just goes away, becomes the most joyful thing. And they take what I've given them and they outdistance my work tenfold every time. There are days, you know, when they do that, they make me feel like I can fly. It's an all too rare feeling, and I'll be forever grateful to them. The stories. We followed members of the Mishkin family through 3 days of what was known as the August Putsch. It was a military and governmental coup that happened in Russia 25 years ago to the opening night of the premiere. And essentially the head of state was taken out of power as he was set to bring about a deal that would end the Cold War. The family, for the most part, are tied to the conspiracy, but they're also innocent bystanders. We follow Andre, who's a double agent. He's working as a spy for the American CIA within the Russian KGB, so we see loyalties to both parties tried and tested, as well as to his family in ways you could just never have imagined. Then there's his older sister, Nessa, played by Kirsty Jameson, who's someone I've wanted to work with for forever. After hearing of the takeover, she decides to lead a march on Red Square with the whole neighbourhood. We also follow the younger brother Vanya and his quest for acceptance as a gay man in Russia. Both their stories are complicated by their romantic ties to members of the KGB, which leads to all sorts of comical scenes, as well as a fair share of danger and blackmail. The father, Pyotr, is the news director of an independent radio station called The Echo of Moscow. This is a true story that during the coup, the Echo of Moscow radio station was taken off the air by the KGB, so we follow an imagined siege of what happened on those 3 days over the course of the coup. What starts as a fairly basic hostage situation soon goes south when the artists and everyone, the DJs who work there, decide that they're too famous to be held hostage and start to annoy their captors into submission. So it's actually probably the funniest story line that we follow in the show. Finally, there's the baby of the group, Lev. He's played by Chris Maud. The show opens in a conversation between him and his mother, Nicola Slonsky, who they open the show with a short conversation in Russian. We don't translate what they say at all for anyone until the very end of the show, but the meaning of what they're saying casts everything you've just seen in a whole new light. It's a lot funnier than Sam and Isla Forever, and it's a lot lighter than a lot of our recent output. Small Story and Words in the Wires. The spy genre has a certain amount of comic potential, and there's these cliched tropes that are just ripe for exploitation. We learned a lot from Sam and Isla as to what worked well for our house style of, the fast-paced dialogue, small acting, what works in the world of musical theatre and what does not. The musical style is noticeably different, and Act 2 splits halfway through. The final 20 minutes becomes a full through-sung opera, albeit with the music and arrangements still rooted in our world. Each story has its own musical language. The family has a very 1980s stadium rock vibe going on. Echo of Moscow has this Human League, Depeche Mode, electro vibe. We're also using a lot of brass. Russia and old school espionage films use a lot of brass, so we're digging deep on that one. We also have a few ballads. A musical's not a musical without a ballad, is it really? So there's one song in particular called This Is Me Being Me. It's a duet between Nicholas Solonsky and David Simpson's characters. It's just electric. It's so much more than I ever thought or hoped it could be. It's an old school rip-snorting family adventure, and if anyone can honestly guess the ending before you see it, I'll give you £10. I'll give you £10 of my own money if anyone can tell you the ending before they see it. Like the last time, I'm saying no.